Welcome back for another episode of Super Fun Game Review Podcast Go. Find us on facebook.com/superfunpodcast, twitter.com/superfunpodcast, patreon.com/superfunpodcast, Instagram at superfunpodcastgo, iTunes at Superfun Game Review Podcast Go. Thanks and enjoy the show.
Welcome to Super Fun Game Review Podcast Go! I am your co-host tonight, Harry.
And I am your co-host, Matt, 7th Column Clarke.
This motherfucker made Callus's bitch. Cool. So, tonight, we're going to review Destiny 2.
Destiny 2.
So, Clarke, why don't you start us off? What's your initial impression of the game?
So, the first one I fell off of right after it came out because there was a serious lack of content, which this one also suffers from a little bit once you start to get to the end game. You know, we're hitting about that month and starting to lose some content. They're still trying, but, you know, it's starting to be not an everyday play. But I think they honestly, for a sequel, knocked it out of the fucking park. I think that game progressively got better in Destiny 1, and this is just, they're continuing on. The graphics improved, the combat improved, they changed the classes in an interesting way. You know, I'm really excited to just kind of get into this game.
So, I think I met Destiny 1 with a lot of frustrations. I think as I played the game, I think I played it for a total of like 2 months total, where I was like really hardcore into it. And it left kind of a bad taste in my mouth, but I was really hesitant to pick this one up. I think all the friends in the friend group can contest that I was really trying to avoid this game. And
yeah, he was one of the last fucking people. We were sitting there in a party, and we were like, and he was like, "Hey, you guys, does anyone want to play Siege? Siege? Siege?" And we were like, "No, Harry, Destiny 2's out." And just like about 20 minutes of silence, and then Harry was like, "God damn it, I'm downloading it now."
Yeah, and that's essentially what happened. You guys all logged on that first night, and I was like, fuck, I'm starting a vacation. How am I going to resist not hitting that download button for an entire week?
And you got up there higher than everybody before everyone else.
Well, I was afraid of getting left behind, because I felt like that kind of happened to me in the first one, where I was always a couple light levels behind everybody else.
Well, you hopped on late, too.
Yeah, I did. But I think that was part of the frustration, because you hit a point in Destiny 1 where you literally couldn't advance any further unless you did the raid.
Right.
And I think they rebalanced some things in this game, but I'm not going to spoil anything. I'd rather that come out in our discussion this evening.
All right, fair enough.
So why don't we just start off and hop right into game development?
Game development.
Game development.
Game development.
It's your typical sequel. They've been working on it since they started wrapping up, and so they did something that was kind of interesting as to not alienate all of the Destiny 1 players. And this is really the only thing that I have with game development, and it's something that I applaud them for a lot. On the Destiny subreddit, there are developers and designers all that post and are very, very active with their community. And I think it's awesome. They listen to the community. You can tell when something comes out that has changed. I was reading people complain about it on Reddit, and now it's a thing. I always thought that was really cool. So what they did was, when they decided to make Destiny 2, instead of what they were going to do is just continue to build off of Destiny 1, I think this is going to be that jumping point for them. I don't think there's going to... Me personally, I don't think there's going to be a Destiny 3. I think they're going to just use this as the platform to jump off of until there's new consoles. Because originally they were just going to do like a 10-year plan for Destiny 1.
Yeah, I think they wanted to do a Destiny 1, 2, and 3, or something like that, where they were going to release one every other year. Originally, that was like their general game plan, and then they decided, let's just go with big patches, more or less.
Well, yeah, they wanted to keep it all just one disc, everything, and you just keep buying like expansions and seasons. They wanted to do seasons, and they still use that term. Like, we're in season 1 of Destiny 2, but I think what was holding them back was the fact that Destiny was still on PS3 and Xbox 360, and to co-develop with that, it was a little tough. So what they did when they started developing the second game, they took their main development group and moved them off of advancing Destiny 1. They started working on Destiny 2, and what they did was they created a live team, which they did all the live events like Festival of the Lost and SRL, and eventually I think they were responsible for Rise of Iron. It was like one or two of the main developers and the live team group that went on and made Rise of Iron, and then it was the core group then was making Destiny 2 while that was simultaneously being developed. And I thought it was really interesting because a lot of the time what'll happen is they'll be like, hey, look, this is the last thing coming out, and then we're done with the game until the next one comes out. Whereas there was not necessarily new content coming out until Destiny 2 came out, but like they released a book a month before Destiny 2 came out, and it was like a wrap up like, hey, have you guys done all of this stuff in Destiny 1? If you do, put all your stuff into this book and you're going to get like a special item. And that was something that was really cool. I'm going to save what I'm about to say, like what I would say here for the gameplay, but the first time that you turn on the game, it has one of the coolest moments and gave me goosebumps. We'll get to that at gameplay.
I read a whole article on the game development today, and there was nothing really that jumped out that was like huge and amazing. It is important to note, I think this came out 3 years after the initial Destiny.
Oh, yeah, and for anyone that doesn't know, this was made by Bungie, the same people who made Halo.
Yeah, no, definitely. But no, I really didn't read anything like super, super interesting or noteworthy. I just remember reading like their original plan was like an every other year kind of release, and they wanted to get to a certain point and just be done with the franchise. But I think their plans have changed, given the demands. But yeah, I think that's where we're at. So,
all right, do we want to hop into the story of Destiny 2?
Yeah, let's hop into the story.
Story.
So I guess picking up almost where the first one left off, not that there was a lot of story in the first one.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. The first one didn't have much story that was like really cohesive except for the grimoire stuff. Mm-hmm. Like all the lore. Look, I hate to plug another podcast, but my love for Destiny came from the Ghost Stories podcast, where they went in depth and talked about all of the lore from the grimoire cards and all of this stuff that was like proven in the game, things like that. It's an amazing podcast. Anyone that's a fan of Destiny and is interested more in the lore of Destiny, I highly suggest checking them out. Give them a comment that we sent them to you.
Yeah, no, it sounds good.
Yeah.
It sounds good. So I guess basically in this one, it basically starts out the Cabal, the Red Legion, led by Gaul. Basically drop a fleet on the last city on Earth to basically try to recapture or claim the Traveler.
Yeah, and like contain it.
Yeah, which is this giant white sphere that basically, it's almost moon-sized. Actually, it is pretty much moon-sized.
Yeah.
That just hovers over the last planet on Earth. And they're trying to claim
the last city.
Last city,
yeah.
Yes. Destroy a lot of that city. Basically, they do actually steal the power a little bit, so all Guardians lose their access to the light, which is their ability to revive, which I like that they played into the lore of the game. There's a lot of moments where you die and then you just respawn. But this game, as opposed to like a Call of Duty or Battlefield or anything, like they give you an actual storyline reason why you're actually respawning.
Yeah, it's like the light makes you an immortal. Like you're actually... A Guardian's already dead. They have already shed their mortal coil once. The only other like group in this that does that is the Exo, like the Exo race. That's why, like, you ever see Banshee 44, the gunsmith?
Yes.
His hard drive has been rewritten 44 times. That's what the numbers stand for at the end of Exo names.
Got it.
It's how many times they've been rebuilt. So they also noticed that after 50, they start to go crazy. And if you notice, and this is way into Destiny 2, when you beat the raid and you go talk to that Exo where you cash in your coins, it's Benedict 99. And that's why he's like insane. And he's like, I speak for the Emperor. Yeah. And like shit like that. Like, because he's just batshit crazy.
Got it. Fair enough. The general gist of the story, because I don't think we need to break down every little element, but you're trying to reclaim the Traveler back for yourself, led by, and you do kind of do these side plot missions to rekindle the Guardian leaders, I guess, like Zavala.
Yeah, the Vanguard.
Yeah, the Vanguard.
The Vanguard.
Yes. You're trying to rebuild the Vanguard by doing these little side missions on each of the respective planets or moons that you encounter in the game.
Right.
Rebuild the team and go to fight back to reclaim the light. And finally, as they're trying to power up their weapon to destroy Earth,
right,
you encounter them on the Cabal ship and destroy their laser, and then fight Gaul.
Yeah, and then you take the fight to Gaul, who has somewhat harnessed some of the powers of the Traveler at that point.
Yes.
So, like, the light is what gives them the power and gives the Guardians immortality, and that's what that's the Traveler's gift to humanity is like, hey, I'm going to make warrior. Like, there's this great darkness out there that is coming for everybody. I'm going to give you the light, and it'll give you the ability to fight back. Now, it's not to say that Guardians can't die, because there are Guardians that do die, but it's through, like, magic and shit like that. Like,
like, there is actually a mission in the game, or one of the, what do they call them? The strikes.
Yeah.
Where they tell how certain Guardians are dying and being turned into void light.
Yeah,
but it's
the
through
Hive.
like the Hive are using a magic to turn them into a different element, essentially.
And the Hive are one of 4 races.
5. I was actually thinking about this earlier, and before I name all the different races, they've all pretty much been supported by the Traveler at one point or another, and then when the Traveler has moved on to a different race, these races have still kind of followed it, kind of trying to
grasp back onto it.
Exactly.
They're trying to get the light back.
Yes, and they're so why don't we just describe each race real quick? So the main one of the game is the Cabal.
Yeah, which are
space rhinos.
Yeah, they're kind of space rhinos.
Yeah.
They grunt. They're big. They're wearing like dog mail and stuff like that, and like their armor is actually made out of the warhounds.
I did not pick up on
yes.
that. Yeah.
They're your typical kind of like, run and gun. They have tactics. They have shields. They have big guys with big guns and things like that. They're very slow moving.
Mm-hmm.
They use jetpacks to get around.
They're like
that.
the big brutes of the game.
Yeah. They're not much for magic or anything like that. It's all technology and brawn with them.
Yeah. And then you have the Vex, which are kind of your cybernetic kind of
robot race
that are vaguely based off of like goblin and orc kind of lore.
Yeah, there's like they have this interesting like fantasy that all of their stuff is named after fantasy. Hobgoblins, minotaurs, goblins, hydras.
Yep.
Harpies.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even realize some of those.
Yeah.
But they're all kind of like mythological creatures, more or less.
Right. But they're all mechanical.
Yes. They're to be completely honest, I think they're one of the creepier races in the game. The way they move, how they did the moving mechanics for them in the game, they just it gives me an eerie, chilly feel every time I encounter them.
And they're the only race in the game that doesn't have their hitbox on their head. Their crit box is in the center where they glow.
Oh, got it. Okay,
Yeah.
I thought you meant like the actual health bar.
Oh yeah, no, that's still there. But
Yeah.
I mean, like their critical box is actually this glowing white light that comes from like their base. And what's interesting kind of about these guys too is like when you shoot off their heads, they stop functioning with logic and they just run at you shooting.
Yes.
Until you kill them, or they get to you and explode.
True. Very true. Then you have the Hive.
Yes.
Which are kind of like your organisms that are out to feed in a way. I find that some of them remind me of like Tyranids, if you're a Warhammer fan.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're a little bit more organized. They're not as bloodthirsty. They're very...
Well, they're like ritual based. They're like their hierarchy involves like knights to protect these witches, and it's like very dark magic. They're very magic oriented race. Like,
yes, and they always seem to be like spawning almost. Like any environment you go to, that's like there's growth of them, like pods and like the growth on the wall. It's just like they're like spawning.
Yeah, they're like the bug mutant race type of thing. Like that's the archetype that they fit. They're actually one of my favorite enemy races.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're pretty cool. I find that the knights are frustrating when they put up their shield, like which we'll get into gameplay. Each race has their own mechanic that,
and the ogres, like they have like some serious firepower.
They do. Or some of them, the boomers, I think a lot of people refer to them. I don't know what their technical name in the game.
Oh, the knights with the guns?
Yes.
Because there's two sets of knights. There's ones with guns, and then there's ones with Swords,
yes.
And then the witches, of course. Witches
are
always like super deadly. They're a little more glass cannony, though.
Yeah.
Like once you get through their shield, they're toast pretty quickly.
Another creepy creature in the game is the Thrall.
Yes.
I find when they swarm on you, it
can
like
be
they're not
pretty
extremely strong, but it freaks you out because they're all over your screen, just jumping.
And then you can't get away because you can't like move.
Exactly.
Because they'll surround you and pin you down and stuff. It's they're also one of the more sadistic, like again, like dark ritual type of things. Like in the lore, like when they kill a guardian, they make sure it's dead by dismantling its ghost so it can't be regenerated, and then they peel the light off of the bodies.
That's kind of dark.
Yes, they literally like eat the light, like they peel it like flesh off
Get it?
of the
They
guardian.
take the light so that's really dark.
Get
it?
Yeah, no, I got it. I got it. I was just trying to roll through that. Just trying to shield bash right through that. Get it? Shield bash.
So the next race is the Fallen, which are, I don't know how to describe these guys. They definitely like to use technology because they have servitors.
Well, they worship technology. That's their whole.
They? Okay.
Yeah, that's their whole thing. Their hierarchy is like servitors are like the top for them.
Okay.
And then everything else worships the technology. That's why that's why they follow the Traveler to begin with. Is they are obsessed with the Traveler. They think the Traveler is like God.
Now, how did they get the nickname the Fallen? Is it because they were the last race to like fall out of the Traveler's glory, or
they were the first?
They were the
first.
Okay, so they've been hunting it for probably quite some time compared to the other races.
Well, okay, so like they're the first. They're the first that aren't the Hive. Like the Hive are in this weird, and the Vex too, because the Vex deal with time.
Yes.
The Vex deal with like timelines and stuff. So like the Vex, I think, are technically from the future. That they've like come back to try to get the Traveler. Whereas like the Hive are like a birth of existence, or they're at like the birth of existence, and then like unheard of for years, and then like the Traveler like passed a meteor and it awoke some of them, but they've never, I don't believe the Hive have actually ever been in the Traveler's light.
Okay.
I don't think he ever gave that to them. I think he woke them up by passing through their galaxy or their asteroid field, and I think that's where the Hive come from.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that.
No, that's fair. I mean, the Traveler in general is very mysterious. They never really explain what its function is or what it actually does. Like, people hint at it, or they learn little bits and pieces, but nobody truly knows what its purpose or reason for helping certain people. It's very, very mysterious object in the game.
Oh yeah, and the Fallen are very clan oriented.
Yeah, how would you describe like the look of them, like as a race?
They're definitely alien. They're kind of like bug people. They're like praying mantis bug people.
Praying mantis, I like that. Just because they all have typically like
long,
and like a lot of them have more than two or one set of arms.
Well, they all do.
Do they? Okay.
They all have 4 arms, 2 legs.
Got it. Fair enough. I think they're generally purplish blue in color.
Yeah,
skin tone wise.
Typically, and then they can vary in size too.
Fair,
like there's some captains that are huge.
Yes, there are.
But yeah, like their whole thing, they're like a really interesting race. They're scavengers. They are very clan oriented. It's like you see a bunch of different like clans and stuff throughout.
And then the last race I wanted to talk about, which is pretty much the newest to the Destiny franchise, not maybe the lore behind the game, but definitely the franchise, is the Taken, which is a conglomerate of all the other races together with a little bit of a twist on them. Like they're kind of like a smoky in color, but kind of like oozy, globby. They can maneuver differently than the traditional ways of that particular race. It's
They're like a viscous fluid.
yeah, definitely.
Like that's what like their makeup is. They don't really, and they have key pieces from every single, they have the phalanxes from the Cabal, they have the Thrall from the Hive, they have the acolytes. They have witches, they have ogres.
They pretty much almost have.
Yeah.
I can't think of any particular one. Like,
There's not a lot of fallen. They don't have fallen servitors. They don't.
No. A lot of the mechanical stuff, minus some of the
yeah.
Vex creatures, the things that are purely like almost like machine without a conscience or something like that, are not taken per se. But but a lot of the races, and at least one particular enemy from each race is represented with the taken race.
Yep.
And you never know what you're going to get when you encounter them.
Yeah, it's always interesting, and I think they're probably one of the more interesting races because they're all based on the Oryx expansion.
Yes.
Taken King.
Yes. And I'm glad they kept them around. Like, they totally could have written them off the map.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you do defeat Oryx in Destiny 1. But for some reason, they're still lingering around. And there's missions in the game to kind of explore that storyline a little bit as well.
Why are these still here?
Exactly. Like, somebody's trying to rebuild it or something along those lines. So, definitely a lot of possibilities with the story. All the races in the game, they're very interesting in their own mind.
So once you defeat Gaul, really in the storyline, the next thing that happens after you defeat Gaul, after you go on this journey to build the Vanguard back up, you go fight Callus.
True.
Callus shows up at the end after Gaul, and he's the emperor of all Cabal. He's the Emperor of the Red Legion.
Red Legion. It's probably like a huge faction of the Cabal.
But he even works for somebody. That gets alluded to in one of the missions where they talk about the shadows. And there's an ongoing fan theory, which I'm going to share here because I think it's interesting. And I was actually discussing it with some people that I had met on Reddit. So Callus used to have this group of elite mercenaries that he called his shadows. The fan theory right now is that all of the Callus raid, because he's sending you through all of these like challenges and tasks, and then you kill Callus and you find out he's a fucking robot, and there's tons of fucking robots at the end of that. They think it was a tryout to become a shadow, and they think that's what is going to be the next part of the story is, hey, Callus wants you to be an elite mercenary. Here's how it benefits you. Here's what you're going to have to do it. It'd be pretty cool. Everything came back from the first one though. In terms of like Crucible is still there, Strikes are there, Nightfall is there. That's all stuff. We don't really need to get into those things. Strikes are retold story missions, except for in this one it's a little different because they actually add more interesting mechanics to the strikes to complete them.
They're like almost like mini challenges of a raid. Well, is there anything else you want to touch on story? Like we can just hop into gameplay. Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's hop into gameplay, and we'll start dissecting some of these different modes and gameplay.
Gameplay.
It was the coolest. It's one of the coolest gaming moments that I have ever experienced. Was when you boot up Destiny 2. They take you through this sequence called Memories. I thought it was amazing because it goes through all of these key moments from your first Destiny 1 save, and it's like, boom, here's this really amazing art of like when you beat Crota, and here's the Guardians you did it with, and it just lists everyone's name.
Mm-hmm.
And then it does that for all of these key moments, and it's just playing this really epic music, and then it gets into like the really sad, like everyone's dying in the fucking city. It was just one of the better lead-ups to a game that I've ever seen, and I just, that Memories thing, I love that you can go back and look at it. I've probably watched it 5 or 6 times now at this point, because you can just go back from the main menu and watch it. Watch your memories again. It's really fucking cool.
That is cool.
I just like, it was really cool to like look and see King's Fall, where we all started playing, which was the Taken King expansion, and seeing Oh,
Is that
look,
where everybody basically started? Like,
except for me and Kevin, yeah.
yeah, okay.
And Joe played the original Destiny too. We all did the same thing. We played, stopped playing, got rid of the game, picked up the collector's edition with the Taken King.
Got it.
And that's when everyone started replaying it. That memories thing was cool and like definitely like moved me in a way. And like I remember listening because as soon as I started up, I went in and got on with my regular fire team, which is, Joe, John, who's been on the show, did the XCOM episode with us. And you joined you joined as well, and Hamill was in there, and I was just sitting there, and John got into the game first and got to that point, and he was like, "Oh my god," he's like, "I'm not spoiling anything. You guys are gonna love the beginning of this," and it was just this cool like anticipation because then Joe got it, and then I was the last person to actually be able to connect to the fucking servers the first night.
I remember you bitching constantly about that.
Yeah, and it is what it is. It was the first night at midnight. I tried to get onto the servers. I wasn't expecting to be able to do it. I still stayed up for a good half an hour and finally connected in. But getting to that memories, man, I was just like, oh, holy shit. And then we all just were like talking about it and just like, oh, I remember that and I remember that. Like it was just a cool moment. And that's not really even gameplay. That's just something that they included that I think is amazing.
No, definitely. So I know I mentioned in my initial impressions the rebalancing of the game. There, like I said before, there was a lot of frustrations with the first one where you just run into basically a wall and have to force yourself down one channel or asset of the game. And it's just really nice. Like each week at the reset, I have so many options to try to expand my power level or pick up high level gear. I'm not just restricted to the raid at this point.
Right, absolutely. You can totally go raid free and get to 305.
Yeah, I mean I like the raid, but I've beaten it already, so it's like I don't feel like I need to beat it every single week now. Like I have that under the belt. I'm basically 305 at this point. There's only a couple more things I'm trying to really accumulate. Like there's a couple weapons I definitely want to get my hands on. But
oh man, I totally got my weapon that I've been trying to get from the beginning of the fucking game last night, and it dropped at 305.
Did it?
Vigilance Wing, the 5-shot pulse rifle.
I'll have to take a look.
And of course, Xur is selling it now.
I didn't get my gun yet. I want the auto rifle that's the chain gun.
Sweet business.
Sweet business. I want that gun so bad. Because I rock... The way I like to play, I like auto rifles.
Yeah, I do too.
I find it very satisfying to just unload. I was never really into like scout rifles. Pulse rifles I can dabble with because it's like multiple shots. But I can't do scout rifles. I'm not huge on hand... Like, everything just makes me feel at home when I'm playing with an auto rifle.
I'm a hand cannon and pulse type of guy. I love auto rifles. They're always my secondary, but my primary is always either a hand cannon or it depends on what I'm doing actually. PvP, it's hand cannon or pulse and then an auto to back it up.
Got it.
Or the Meta, but I've only gotten good with the Meta because like you have to do trials.
I mean, I have the Meta and the multi-tool and the mini-tool. Like when you equip that mini-tool with that, it's disgusting.
Yeah, well, right now the Meta is the most powerful weapon in the game.
Is it really?
Mm-hmm. Hands down. If you get into trials and you team shoot, you can do 2 shots and kill somebody. If you have somebody else doing 2 shots, you can just be like and like wipe a team in trials. Like if you don't have Meta, it's a challenge. It's a real fucking challenge.
So yeah, like I was saying, like different game modes, like each week with the reset to get some high level gear, you can do the raid, you can do the nightfall, you can do this is one of my personal favorite things from the game, the public events.
Yep.
I cannot stress how much fun I have with farming public events. I'll usually pick the planet that that they focus on for that particular...
The flashpoint.
Yeah, the flashpoint for that particular week. The latest one was the EDZ.
Yeah. I like the EDZ in general. I
do too.
It's a great...
They're all good, but I think I spend majority of my time at the EDZ or Titan. I feel like those are my 2 favorite places.
I don't spend much time at Titan.
No, it's just the public events are very quick at that
Yeah.
one,
Yep.
so it's really good to farm very, very quick.
I like Nezus. I love Nezus.
Do you?
Mm-hmm.
But in general, there's just something about those public events where you're just like the only one standing there and you're starting to get wrecked. But boom, here comes a fire team over the hill, and here comes another guy running out of that building. And shit, this guy just teleported it. Like, it just feels so epic.
Yeah.
When all these random
Absolutely.
people come together for this common goal and just you fucking just tear it up. I love it every time.
Yep. No,
And-
I completely agree.
And there doesn't even have to be like verbal communication. Like, everybody just starts doing their emotes to just tell you like, hey, I got your fucking back kind of
Yeah,
shit.
yep.
Like, it's so satisfying. I can only put it in so many words just to try to do it some kind of justice.
I agree. I still think the most satisfying feeling to me is completing the raid.
Yeah. Oh no. Hands down.
That feeling of just like, oh, we did it. We executed flawlessly. Like, it's now this raid is not the hardest raid
no
for Destiny.
There's some extremely frustrating points to this raid.
I actually think everything's pretty easy in this raid.
Do you?
Yes. The only time it gets frustrating is if somebody doesn't know what they're doing.
Yes.
But all the moving parts in this are pretty fucking simple.
Yeah. I do want to say the one thing that is kind of relentless about this raid compared to others.
The revives.
No, well, I mean, that is a little frustrating, but there's not a lot of wiggle room for errors in this raid. Like, in some of the past ones, if somebody screwed up a little bit, you can kind of scramble so that it wasn't a total party wipe. But I find with this raid, and I mean, I could be wrong, but I find with this raid that if somebody does screw up, it's almost irreversible.
See, I kind of think it's the opposite. Like, the whole invention of the revive tokens for this raid, I think it makes it a little more challenging in a way. I think it's definitely interesting, but I think the tokens make it very restrictive, and I actually think that limits the amount of wiggle room that you have. I think there are party wipes in this one because of the amount of, like, I actually thought Taken King is the hardest raid because you have to execute on Oryx flawlessly. Like, you can't screw up on Oryx. You can have one person screw up once, and then otherwise it's a fucking wipe.
I do remember that. There is a lot of mechanics to that raid.
Right.
Well, and maybe not that raid, but that boss fight especially. Like, there's so many different phases where, boom, you got to jump on the fucking, what the hell was that? You got to take this orb from the ghostly steps, and then everybody has to kind of scramble to avoid the bombing, and then everybody gets teleported into this orb where you got to shoot the specters inside.
Yep, and you have to kill them. Everyone wipes. If you don't do it, like, if someone dies in the orb, they get transported out and things like that. See, in this one, I think with the death restrictions, that's what is the most annoying part of the raid, is the death restrictions. Because if someone dies, you have 30 seconds to revive them. If you can't, it's a whole wipe.
Yeah.
And I think that's where most of the wiping comes from. But yeah, I mean, I've completed the raid 3 times now. If you're with a group that actually knows what they're doing already and have, like, done it before, and you can kind of tell, it moves pretty quickly. I have 2-rounded Callus, and I have single-rounded dogs with a group. Single-rounding dogs was an amazing feeling. It's just, we can get into that later. I don't want to do a full-blown, like, breakdown on the raid.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely.
But yeah, I think the raid is very solid, and I'm kind of curious to see what they're going to do. They actually, starting next week, they just released the Prestige raid, which is going to have some extra stuff in it. But it's 300 plus, so I don't know what they're going to give you unless they're going to increase the light cap, and they haven't told anybody yet. Which they did that before.
Yeah.
They put out the challenge mode secretly and raised the light cap 5. Well, now we're at 305, so who knows where
I know,
it's
but
gonna
I'm
go.
just saying, like, the first 100 and 200, like, you could put it on a 100-point scale if you really wanted to.
Yeah, I think they just do that because everyone likes to see higher numbers.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm a billion light level.
So this is a loot game for sure.
Oh, definitely.
It's all about the loot, and I like grinding it. I like grinding for gear in this one.
It's not as harsh as the last one. It's a little bit more forgiving. Like, I feel like a lot of times they'll give you an item which was kind of your lowest or something like that.
Yeah.
Like I feel like there's
It's almost aware. The RNG is a little aware of what you're wearing.
Yeah, it's not as random as it
Yeah.
was in the last game.
Like, you don't get like 5 high-end level drops and they're all gloves when your gloves are your highest thing.
Yeah,
Like, great.
exactly. 'Cause
Yeah.
I remember the one thing that was really holding me back before, and then I did the Nightfall, and then boom, that was the item it gave me
Nice.
to boot me up. I think it was the Mark or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, getting back, I know we were talking rebalancing earlier, but I think that's another thing that they kind of fixed with this
Right.
game to kind of minimize a little bit of frustration. Because there are times still in this game where you're just like, fuck, like, that sucks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I
But,
mean, that's any game.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's just a matter of just doing it again.
Yep.
But no, I think they learned their lesson on a lot of things with the first Destiny, and they knew what bothered their fan base or what definitely needed to be improved upon, and I think they really nailed it with this game.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of things that really agitate me with this game because again, like I said, I the first one left a bad taste in my mouth. I don't have that with this one.
I mean, I am a little upset with the end game. Just that I'm starting to hit the there's nothing to do here moment, and I have 3 characters all at 290 plus light. 2 of my characters are 300 plus. Once I get everyone to 305, I don't know if I'm going to be playing the game too much until there's new stuff or different stuff. That said, though, when I think about how much I've played it already since 3 weeks to a month that it's been out, I've played it a shit ton. I've dedicated entire days to just fucking playing this and eating.
Yeah.
And making sure I survive. So
I spent a 10-hour day just completing the raid.
Yeah, it's people are complaining about no end game, but also they're also no lifing the game as well.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you can't do that and expect an infinite game out of anybody.
Exactly. Exactly.
So don't buy this game thinking that it's endless, because it's not.
Because I'm definitely getting at that point as well, where I'm more or less getting on just to fart around, not with like a set goal in mind. Like before, it was like, boom, I need to do this because that's what's going to get me higher.
Yep.
But now I'm at the point where, fuck it, let's just mosey around in the game. Like the one day I just hopped on, I was like, let's just do a couple Crucible matches, and then I'm going to do a couple public events. Just like nothing set in stone, just like I said, farting around.
Right.
Let's hop on our Sparrow and head into
graphics.
Graphics.
I think the graphics in this game are amazing. The level of detail on some of the weapons and character designs and the level design in general is just incredible. Like, I love Nessus. It's glowing and it's like, it feels super, super alien. Whereas in the first one, everything felt really alien as well, but it looked a little less polished, I want to say. And this looks great because they didn't have the restrictions of having to put it on PS3 and Xbox 360.
Mm-hmm.
They could just roll with this game, and I really think they hit it out of the park. Just the whole, they can make these big sprawling areas that even have little secret caverns in them that are entire levels almost, just hidden away in the lost sectors. And it's one of those games that I could sit and watch, and ever since PlayStation 4 allows you to take a screenshot and then put it as your background, mine is of my Guardian staring up at the Traveler.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Graphically, this is a little side note, but I'm glad they integrated a better map system into the game.
Yep.
Or
fast traveling, things like that.
Yeah, fast traveling, amazing. I know in the last one, public events, you had to go on a website to look up what times they were going to start.
Yeah, yep.
It's just now you can just see it on the map. Oh, it's going to start in 2.5 minutes. Well,
yeah, this has like all the bells and whistles that people hated about the first one.
Yeah, exactly. I like the environments. I mean, Titan, Waterworld, essentially.
Yep.
With like tankers on it and stuff.
Yeah, just you're on a giant oil tanker, pretty much.
Another different location of Earth. I think it was the fields of Russia last game, and now we're in Europe.
Old Russia and Europe.
Yep. And then there's Nessus, which it's like a green planet with like a red growth on it in a way.
Well, so it's an asteroid. What is the mythical creature that asteroids are named after?
The asteroids are named after?
Yes.
I don't know any names of asteroids.
Your
though.
ghost says it to you when it's talking to Failsafe when you first hit on Nessus. And it's like, oh, this has been completely taken over by the Vex. So Nessus was an asteroid that turned into a planet based off of like terraforming by the Vex.
Oh, yeah.
So there's like tons of like Vex architecture, which is just this crazy like jutting, crazy like technical and like circuitry kind of buildings, and then very ornate alien structures.
Yes.
Throughout, and then it just looks like it's planted right in the middle of just what used to be like a lush forest, and then everything is just turned red by the infection, and then all the water there is the Vex milk.
Yeah, the Vex milk. Somebody said something like you shoot them and then the milk comes out.
Yeah, yep.
And then I think the last planet of interest is Io.
Yep, Io.
So Nessus was an asteroid. What planet is it around? Or no, it's just out there, isn't it?
Nessus is an asteroid.
And then Io is a moon of Jupiter. But yeah, it's kind of similar to the first game's Venus in a way, at least in my mind.
Yeah.
I think it has a very, very similar look and definitely feel to it. And I think that, but no, they're all distinctly different in their look, and they almost have like a certain color palette programmed into each place so that you're not seeing the same color scheme no matter where you go. And it just makes it look very distinct from each other. Now, on that same token, I do gotta say, I was more impressed with there was something a little bit more nostalgic in the first game visiting like the moon. Like that's our moon.
Right.
Mars. That's like our closest planet. Then you got Venus. Like it would just
Those
were so Saturn. Like those were so iconic in the first one. I don't get that same vibe in the second one. And I almost wish they would bring back mini missions just to visit those planets again. Or even for the Sun Titan in the first one, you got to even go to Mercury for a mission, which I thought was cool. It's awesome that they incorporated like other celestial bodies in our solar system for this game. I just wish they could also incorporate that, like not just new ones, but like all of them, like just to really make it feel like you can explore our solar system.
Who knows? They might incorporate those.
They could, and I think they might just get everybody used to these for the time being, so that we're not stretching ourselves thin.
Yeah.
On the different engines. But I mean, there's only so many people on any instance at any given time anyway. So they could potentially bring in some of those older bodies from Destiny 1, maybe eliminate certain servers so you're not running into too few people being on a particular instance or something like that. But no, I do have hopes that they would bring that stuff back.
Yeah.
Because I remember just looking at the moon and just looking back at Earth, and then there was this giant... Oh, what was it? There was just like the moon was venting from like some kind of crash on it.
Oh, right.
And just Mars, like none of the planets in this game even feel similar to Mars. Like just how deserty it was in that game. So not trying to gush over Destiny 1. I just didn't get that same feel for the environments. Although the EDZ I think is the best looking body to explore in this game.
Okay.
Personally, it just seems like they put the most work into that one. But my opinion.
I mean, they had the most source material for it. You know what I mean? They could base it off of stuff.
True.
You know?
True.
So,
and I think it is important to note that each body is kind of harboring one race more than the others too.
Yes.
Like on Nessus, it's predominantly Vex. On Io, it's predominantly the Taken.
Right. With Cabal.
With Cabal. The Cabal are kind of stationed on all... Well, I mean, all the races are kind of stationed. It's just some are more predominant than others on each place. Graphically, I do think it looks very pretty. Loading times seem to be a little bit more forgiving in this game than the last one.
Yeah, they definitely are.
Because some of those hyperspace travels were fucking horrendous.
Yeah. Yeah, they were real long. I like the addition of cutscenes in this one. There are a lot more cutscenes going through the story in this one than there were...
Yeah, I'd agree to that.
Yeah.
Now, actually, as far as like look of the game, that first mission where you're traveling through the mountains and you're following the bird and everything like that, something about that mission in particular that looked a little bit more polished or well done. Like they probably just trying to really get you into the game with like a first beautiful mission.
Yeah.
But it did graphically look a lot better than other parts of the game.
Well, I think it's one of those things, and maybe this is why I like Nessus so much. I think when they do bright, vibrant worlds, it's a little prettier, and I think it's a little better to look at.
Yeah.
Whereas like the EDZ is always dark.
True.
And
I think they're trying to give it that grim
yeah,
feel to it. Like, this is your home. It's fucked.
Right. Yeah, and I think they definitely nail that aesthetic.
Real quickly, I know we talked about the races earlier. They each have their very distinct look to them. Like, there's not like a repalletization or anything like that.
Right. They still retain what they look like in Destiny 1.
Yep, exactly. And then each race got an additional creature in this one. Like the Cabal, they got the Hounds in this game.
Right.
The Vex got they're like very basic Vex that are like basically
the
kamikazes.
Yeah, the exploders.
Trying to think, the Fallen. What did the Fallen get?
Did they get anything?
Kinda. They have the Riders.
They were in the first one.
Were they?
Yeah, Pikes were in the first one for sure. They didn't like roam though.
Yeah, they're like gangs now.
Right. I can't think of anything new for the Taken either.
Yeah, you might be right.
I think it's just there's a few.
We could be forgetting them as well.
Yeah. I've played a lot of Destiny 2 at this point.
Yeah, no, definitely. But yeah, no, look at the creatures. They all move pretty fluid. Their attacks look great. The arc, solar, and void effects on the different guns look great. Like, I just like how as soon as you swap like an element on one of your guns, it does change like the look of it a little bit.
Yeah,
like,
just a little bit. It has like a glow.
Yeah, exactly. Like the ammunition or something like that. Like, obviously some of your exotics are locked to one specific. Well, all the exotics are pretty much locked to a specific. Your legendary guns and everything you can swap around, and it looks really cool when you change it. Like, I have this arc auto rifle right now, and it just looks so cool with the blue ammunition coming out.
Yeah.
But I really I'm heavy on my arc shit. I've been thinking about changing it to like solar or void, but I don't know, because it's like the look of it looks so cool. I don't know if I want to commit to that. But yeah, graphically, I think it's a good looking game.
I can't tell you how much I like the aesthetic of the game, so move on into the music.
Music.
The music's awesome in this game.
Yes, it is.
And they use it at the appropriate times as well.
Yeah, like the timing of the music and the sound effects are
Clarke's Music Minute.
Banana. Stolen from Ralph.
Yeah, I know. Fuck you, Ralph.
This is amazing. Shaxx. I honestly wish Shaxx could narrate my life. I don't know who plays him. I don't like. I know Nathan Fillion is Cade 6. He does an incredible job voice acting him. All the characters have really good depth. And they really kind of brought out more emotion. Not switching the Ghost's voice halfway through the game was nice this time. Shaxx, I just wish he could narrate my life. It would be amazing. This is amazing. Don't forget to floss.
Yeah,
like
the way he describes things. I always love picking up heavy ammo in the
Yeah.
Crucible, because just his little quips
Yeah.
that he adds, like, Guardian, what are you gonna do with that?
Yeah.
Show him a real fight.
Yeah.
I know, I love it every time. It's just, it's.
I always tell everyone you're my favorite guardian. just random shit. It's so great.
Yeah.
Seventh column.
No, voice acting spot on, and there's actually quite a bit of cast member, like, not named people, but I mean characters in the game. Like, there's a lot of characters that are voiced.
Oh yeah, well everything's voiced except for your character,
Which is odd. It's the
I get
immersion
it.
thing. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I totally get it. But Cade 6, obvious. I think he's a fan favorite of the game. Just
Yeah,
his
Nathan Fillion.
Yeah, his comedy that he just like like there's one strike where you do where somebody's talking like, oh, men always compensate by bringing others along to make up for their strength or something like that.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh yeah, that's why I always work alone.
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
like just little like it's so unnecessary,
Oh,
but it
that's
adds
why I work alone.
so much flavor to this game.
The music from beginning to end is tonally is great.
I'm still discovering new tracks in the game.
Yeah,
I mean, are they coming through with updates on the game that they're adding new scores to the like? I'm just blown away. Like I'll just be sitting in doing like a hyper space travel.
yeah, like a jump. Yeah,
Yeah, and I don't recognize this song. This is good.
yeah,
like the orchestra music. Like it's just fantastic in this game.
the beginning theme where everything's going to shit and your ghost is injured and you're like all roughed up and stuff. That beginning theme is amazing. It is so sad. And the music in Destiny has always been consistently really well done.
Yeah, no.
And this is no exception. And then I really think that is a staple for Bungie. Is they're like, we need good music. Because like think about all the iconic Halo songs. I don't know if you're a huge fan or not, but if there's anyone that even remotely likes Halo, they're probably humming the theme to it right now.
Has similar feel of music. Like,
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
I'm not
yeah,
gonna say it's like the
it's-
exact, but
It's space epic.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
this like tonally space epic orchestral sound the drums, march to war kind of like just epic feel.
and to really kind of show you how good the music is in this game, I've been in raid groups that I just met random people,
Yeah.
and we'll start talking about the music of the game. Like there's a billion other things we could have talked about in downtime, but we made the effort to actually notice and discuss the music of the game.
Right.
Like if it was poor music, would that even be in the forefront of our minds? No, spot on. And I like I said, I keep discovering new music, and it's that is one aspect that hasn't worn down on me with this game yet. It's just fantastic. And what's the robot chick on Nessus?
Failsafe.
Failsafe. Another cool little add-in that like just gives that character a little bit of uniqueness. Just like a bipolar robot.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's very, very odd if you think about it.
Yeah, for sure. It's having it be bipolar, it makes it really like it gives it a lot of character for a robot.
For a robot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I could see that getting annoying real quick if they didn't have character. Like it was just a very plain, because I mean Ghost talks to you probably more than anybody in the game.
Right, absolutely.
And just to hear well, I guess that's how it originally started with Peter Dinklage, and that's why they cut it.
Yep.
Yeah, so I guess character on the Ghost is very important.
Final thoughts.
Final thoughts, good man.
Final thoughts.
You want to start it up?
Sure. In the words of my favorite character, this is amazing. I do really like this. I didn't like Destiny when it first came out, the first one. And then Taken King just had this hold on me. I played Taken King for I played Destiny 1 for like a year straight. They just kind of kept pumping out just enough content to keep me coming back. There were other games, sure, but I just kept coming back. And looking at like the release schedule of how they're doing things here, I think it's just going to be more of it, and I love it.
So what is the next big release for this game?
I forget the name of it, but it's a raid. It's December. It's a raid. It's more story.
Is there going to be a new planet?
Probably.
Or,
I would assume so.
Maybe some new strikes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They're going to be adding consistently
Do you
to the game.
think, just theorizing here, I know we're a little off topic, but do you think they're going to add a new race this rendition of the game?
I think so. I think we're also going to see a fourth subclass.
Interesting.
I think we're finally going to get a fourth one. Because if you notice, the menu just has the outline for it there almost. Like, you have your main subclass, which is like the big diamond.
Yep.
And then there's the little one next to it, and then the one underneath, and perfectly fitting in that other spot would be another one.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I'll
so
have to take a look at that.
yeah, I think just the formatting is there for it more so than it was before. If you liked Destiny, this is right up your alley, and it's polished, and I think it's just a better overall game, and it's only going to get better and better, I feel. And if you're just starting out or just even curious about the game, pick it up. It's a great game.
I will say one of the things that really has always interested me, I've always been really big in astronomy. I think I brought this up on an earlier podcast.
Yep. The No Man's Sky, actually.
Was it?
Yes.
And just graphically, how pretty. Do you ever take that moment where you just stand and just look up at the sky?
Oh, my
and
God,
just
yeah.
check out the environment? Like, there's a bunch of shit going on around you, but you're like, you know what? I'm going to take a minute and just take this all in.
Well, that like I said, that wallpaper that I have on my PlayStation, I'll boot my PlayStation up before you leave and show it to you.
Cool.
It's literally me just standing at the tower, staring up at the
I
Traveler.
did that one night, and I watched just one of the fragments orbit around.
Yeah,
the
it's
Traveler.
really fucking cool.
Because I wanted to see, like, does it glitch out at some point and reset or something? Like, it keeps going.
Yeah.
It just keeps going. I will say my favorite moment was on the it was the base that was on Saturn's ring. I remember when you first teleport into that and just looking out at Saturn. The Dreadnought.
Yeah.
I don't think anything has blown me away as much as that moment. There's something about that specifically that just looked phenomenal. And not to say that they aren't going to put it in this game, because this game is still young. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of expansions they're going to put into this game that might bring me back. And I mean,
I'm signed up already for the next two.
Yeah.
Yeah. I bought the digital deluxe. I get the next two expansions already.
And I know I was harping on like bringing back the old planets and stuff before. In the final cutscene, we should have touched on this in story, when the Traveler emits this light. It revisits all the areas from the first game, which makes me think they're not totally forgotten.
And it hits that new darkness.
Yeah. Yes, it does. Which could be, I was theorizing, a new race.
Yes, I think it could totally be a new race.
Yeah. Because it was outside of the galaxy entirely. Like, everything else has been thriving in this galaxy, but this thing is beyond. Just out there in dead space. Or dead orbits.
Dead orbits.
Yeah, that's my faction, by the way.
That's mine, too. It's mine on my main. We'll get into that because we do have questions tonight as well.
We do have some questions.
We get there.
So just to wrap up my final thoughts real quick, I do like the game. I think I was pleasantly surprised. I merely picked this game up because I didn't want to fall out of the friend loop, but I have invested an insane amount of time. I'm probably, if there was a counter in the game, I'm probably nearing 100 hours at this point.
Yeah, I think I'm right up there. Oh, real quick, also, while you bring up the friends thing, we forgot to touch on it. I just want to throw it out there. Clan support is awesome.
Yes.
The whole idea between like the clans, and you can actually have like a clan chat now on the Destiny app and everything like that. The clan support in here is awesome.
Speaking of which, if you are a big fan of the show and you kind of want to mingle with us online, check out Karma Core.
Yeah.
That is our clan.
Yep. You can hit us up. If you drop your PSN on our Facebook page, I will get on there and send you an invite. I'm the clan founder. So
cool.
I'll send you an invite.
Little tidbit we could throw out
there.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Mingle with us.
Yeah.
We're always trying to get more interactions with our audience.
Come raid, we'll have a good time.
Just know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So let's move in
to
the
score.
The score.
Harry, you go first.
All right, let's do this. I'm going to give it 9.0.
Nice.
Which ties with The Last of Us. I know you fully support that equation.
Well, I mean, I don't in terms of quality of a game.
So where Last of Us, I think, excels in story, I feel like this game excels in gameplay.
I mean, I disagree
about
the quality.
Wholeheartedly agree with that.
I agree with your assessment of the value of Destiny 2. I completely disagree with your value of the story of The Last of Us.
All right, what's your fucking score?
My fucking score.
Yeah, we'll just get it out. Ooh, arbitrary, if I may add.
Yes, arbitrary. My
Ooh.
arbitrary score. I'm gonna give this 26 faction tokens out of 300 light engrams.
Very well. All right, it has been spoken.
It has been
It's
spoken.
set in stone. Cool. So why don't
Also, I would like to clarify that it's 25 faction token, or it's 25 tokens to get a piece of engram. It's 25 to get an engram,
I thought it
or 20.
I thought it scaled up. No? So
No.
it's consistently always the same.
I think the only one that actually scales up is the gunsmith. He always seems like he needs more and more. Fucking greedy bastard.
Little bitch.
Always working on the same goddamn rifle. Finish it. Get to another one. Work on a scout rifle or something.
All right, cool. So we got a couple questions. These are posted from that sweet, sweet boy, Kyle Page.
Sweet, sweet boy.
So number one, what's everyone's favorite class? I pretty much play Titan. Actually, I do play Titan exclusively. I don't feel I have the time to invest in multiple characters. I'm starting to dabble in the idea of it now that I'm pretty much at the very end of the game. I was thinking about picking up another character. Do they play very, very differently, or is it just slightly differently?
The abilities play differently, yes.
Do they?
Honestly, so for me, I'm a Warlock main.
Okay.
And I always dabbled with Titan as my second, and then my third is Hunter.
Okay.
I mean, I play all the classes. I eventually get them all up there, but it's usually like that. I'm in love with Striker Titan.
Really?
Yes. It's my favorite
They really fixed
class,
the
subclass.
ability, because before that, Fist of Havoc was just like one ground slam and...
Well, I mean, Nova Bomb's the same way. It's one shot with the Warlock.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's a lot more roving supers in this, which I like, but the pulse grenades on the Striker Titan are fucking nuts.
Yeah.
It's the most powerful thing in the game.
Yeah.
You can kill, if you get a 4-stack in the raid with the pollen, if you can get 4 stacks and throw 2 of your pulse grenade charges on a hound, you'll get it to almost near death. And
Interesting.
literally, like when we one-rounded it, I threw 2 pulses, ran over, helped some guy kill his, ran back over, shoulder charged mine, and it was dead.
Jesus.
That's literally what I did. And I was a big contributor on the second one because Merciless is the fucking shit.
Yeah.
That's my gun of choice. That's my exotic of choice. Weaponry. PvE.
So as far as like subclass goes, I do prefer the Sentinel. Like if you look at my...
I like the Sentinel too. I like Titan. I like Titan a lot more than I think I like Warlock right now.
Do you?
I think Warlock needs a buff somewhere.
Interesting.
It needs something to be a little more damage dealy. I do, however, think they have the most important of the circle abilities. The Healing Rift is so fucking important in the game.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree. There's a lot of moments where it's really handy to just plop that down where the whole party, like if you're in a damage phase in the raid.
Yep.
It's just so important.
And the Arc Soul. The healing in the Arc Soul on top of it, like it makes Stormcaller like the one that you have to play for Warlock if you're going to be effective.
Yeah.
Just so you get like the little ball that shoots the electricity. It's amazing for skulls too, if you're on the inside.
Got it.
For Callus.
But no, as far as like playing the Sentinel Titan, I have dabbled with the Striker and Sunbreaker, but I like with your ultimate. Yeah, I have 2 options with the Sentinel:
Yeah.
Big Bubble or Captain America.
Do you have the exotic arms for the Sentinel?
Which ones? I have 2. I have 2 of them.
So it's the one with like the purple horns?
Yes, I do have that one.
Where it allows you to shield bash and then throw the shield again, and then shield bash and throw the fucking shield again?
Maybe.
You
I
can.
haven't dabbled with, like, I'm pretty persistent with the chest piece that auto reloads your auto rifles.
Yeah, that's one that I don't have. I usually rock the pauldrons.
Okay.
Because it allows you to throw the shield 3 times.
Yeah, it's sick.
It's so gross.
It's really good for PvP as well.
Yeah.
Like, I've gotten 3 people with a single disc throw.
Oh, yeah, you just hit one, it goes through them, hits a dude standing behind him because he thought he was protected, and then bounces off the wall and hits the dude hiding in the corner. Yeah,
so clutch.
Yeah, it's so good.
And I don't even use the bubble that much.
I don't even have it unlocked. I don't use the bubble.
It was just, I loved using it, and it always came in handy in Destiny 1, that it's more iconic just to have that as an option at this point, although it seems to fuck me over more.
Well, you can't shoot through it now.
No, you can't. Well, I don't think you could shoot through it in the last one.
Oh, no, you had to hop in and hop back out.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have that buff anymore.
Yeah. If you get the chance, check out a video I posted on Facebook. I almost fucked up our Callus run.
Yeah, Harry almost wiped the entire team with that fucking bubble.
Yeah, we were on our last damage step, just plowing into Callus, and I panicked because I was like nearly out of ammo, and I thought I was using my Captain America special, and I popped the bubble over the entire platform where everybody was doing the damage phase.
It's amazing.
And everybody, you don't get all the audio in this video because not everybody had their settings configured that way, but the panic that ensued in the next 30 seconds after I popped that bubble was insane. Just insane. And then it finally just somebody leapt off and used their striker ability just right at the very end as he was like about to burst for like a party wipe. Like it was, and like all the guys in the party were like, dude, you were the biggest fucking troll I've ever met. Like, and I was like, I'm sorry. Like it was insane.
So, did we have any other questions?
Yes, we do. So next one is weapon of choice for PvP and PvE. I pretty much keep the same loadout, except my heavies tend to change.
Okay, fair enough.
I like either the rocket launcher or sword in PvP. I've found when I get heavy ammo, and you get a decent amount with the sword in PvP. It's not just like one rocket shot or something like that. With the PvP, just rocking the sword in PvP, I find going into that third person and just hiding around a corner. And I think as long as you don't move, you don't show up on people's radar.
If you crouch, you don't show up on radar.
Well, I find a lot of people will turn a corner and I'll just go, blah, 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 and just get them with this. I've gotten so many like 5x kill streaks just with the sword. I typically do auto rifles everywhere, though. I just find it, like I said earlier, extremely satisfying. But I'm not opposed to I've dabbled with other guns. Like I've been trying out a lot of the exotics. I'm not trying to brag by any means, but I have like 15 exotics at 305 at this point. Nice. So at this point, I'm just like, cool, let's experiment with this. Let's experiment with this. And just trying out different shit. Because I'm at that point in the game, again, like I'm trying to find shit to do with my time now. So
I'm a auto rifle hand cannon guy for the most part. I just got Vigilance Wing. I'm really excited about it because I do like a good pulse rifle. So I usually rock the Raid auto, which is the Ghost Primus. It's fucking gross because it literally has settings for essentially, do you want to play PvE or do you want to play PvP? One is does extra damage at the bottom of the clip, and the other one is quick rapid kills add more ammo to the next time you reload. So it goes from 44 in a clip to 66 in a clip. That's the max that I've been able to get. But then also it's like the Suros. It'll just like get to the halfway point, and then all of a sudden it just starts pumping out tons of damage until your final bullets are doing 2 or 3 bullets worth of damage. It's really gross. So I rock that, and honestly, the Sunshot has been amazing for me in PvP. Yeah, the Sunshot's really cool. I love getting the precision kills and getting the flame effect on people. It's so good. It's so good. It's very satisfying because there's 8 rounds in the chamber for a hand cannon, and it's a decent amount, and it does a lot of fucking damage, especially if you're real close, and especially if you can get those precisions. You can deal out some serious damage with that thing.
That is one of the ones I have leveled up.
Yeah, but so if I'm going to be super competitive, there's nothing beats the meta, and that's just like the meta right now is the meta is the gun to use if you're going to be competitive. Like anytime I roll trials, it's always meta. There's no other options.
I find a lot of people use the Cold Fusion auto rifle. It shoots the beam.
Cold Heart,
yes. I find a lot of people use that as well. Even in PvP, which I find odd. Like,
I don't get it in PvP. I see it in PvE a lot. It's actually really good for the Callus raid.
Yeah. Yeah, no, a lot of people have that equipped there.
Yeah, well, because all you have to do, because you can quick fire it, and you're only using like 2 ammo, and you can get like 6 shots off with it. So if you sit there and do that, it skulls, and then go, and it does incremental damage. So the longer you hold it on something, the more damage you do. So if you're at Callus, you just point it at his head and you sit
you run
there.
through a whole clip. Oh, I did want to mention, one of the weapons I do like to use PvE a lot for my heavy is the Darcy sniper rifle.
I don't have that yet.
No?
Is it any good?
I enjoy it. It's not like top tier as far as like sniper rifles go, but it fires very quickly. The handling is like spot on with it, and it gives you like a little bit of character info when you lock on a target. So
Nice.
I dig it. I dig it.
I like the Borealis. The Borealis is really nice. That's a PS4 exclusive, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
The Borealis is, you can select which element it is on the exotic. It's like the hard light, but in a sniper rifle. It's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. I don't
Yeah.
think I've seen that one, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah, I actually have popped 2 now.
There's still a lot of exotics to go for me. Like,
Yeah.
I haven't experienced all of them.
Me too.
Like the tractor cannon's a little bit weird. I know
I
people.
want a tractor cannon. I want to mess around with it.
Yeah, I have that maxed out. That's my shotgun. That's maxed.
Also, I need to do the arms dealer because I want the raid shotgun.
I need to do that as well.
We
I
might-
have the quest up, the
Me too.
300 quest. So
Yeah, we might have to do that sometime.
we should hammer that through as a group one day, because we all need it. So, or well, I don't know if everybody needs it. But
Nobody else fucking beat the raid in the clan other than you and I.
See,
So-
I didn't want to do this episode until I got to that marker in this game.
Yeah,
I
no,
feel like we
I-
both have gotten to a very appropriate point to, because I think a lot of the reviews that are out for this game right now, a lot of people are just getting like initial impressions. At least that's what I had
Yeah,
when I was
yeah.
listening to podcasts on this game. Nobody like had the full experience. So
You got it here, guys.
yeah, you got it here. So we got one more question. What hints or tips can you give for any new Destiny 2 players?
My tip would be to pull out. No, I'm kidding.
You never pull out.
Honestly, save everything. The second you get you can save a lot on the grind if you don't just break everything down as soon as you get it. Play and figure out what you like. If you're more effective with a weapon and it's a few light less than the current weapon, if you're more effective with it, you'll get through it quicker. Also, if you're really trying to grind out an alt, and this is my big thing. Not necessarily for a new Destiny 2 player, but like somebody's experienced, it's like, oh, maybe I'll do my alt. Always make sure that you go to Xur and buy whatever your alt's thing is. So Xur has now given us helmets, he's given us arms, and he's given us chest pieces for every single class. So there's no reason that when you get to level 20 with your alt, once you get all your legendary slots, you should be 270 immediately. That's what I've done. Literally, I did my level 20 mission, got that done, went to Xur, got my shit, transferred all of the guns and shit like that, like my max level guns, and then went and cashed in all of my tokens. And I went from like 210 light to 293 with my hunter, just doing 1 week's worth of powerful gear and doing it that way. It makes alting very, very easy.
I feel like it's easier for your alt once you get through it. With
Oh,
the
absolutely,
character.
because you can transfer them 300 light level fucking guns.
Yeah, exactly.
And that just boosts you up real quick.
I think the other little tidbit I was going to say is, I mean, obviously get through the missions first. Like, you need to get through that to get to level 20. The game really doesn't open up until you hit that level 20
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Try to not miss out on your luminous engrams each week.
Right.
Make those a
Right.
priority and then fuck around with the game, because that's really what's going to boost you up very, very quickly.
Yeah, I've gotten getting through the story down to a science. I can probably speed run the story in about 5 hours now.
Yeah.
And one important thing with that too is, all right, so do the stories, mainline the story until you're done. until you can't progress further because of, level cap or something. You'll have a mission from Shaxx to go do Crucible or go do something. Do that till you hit the level cap, mainline again.
Yeah.
Then continue unlocking all the other bits, like unlock quick play and competitive for Crucible, because you have to do 4 matches in each. If you spread those out and stuff, you'll never have to stop and grind usually.
Yeah.
That's a really easy way to like just mainline and get a character to 20.
The other thing I was going to say is definitely get into some kind of clan. I'm sure
clans are
just
important.
Hop on the internet. I'm sure there's tons
Join our clan.
Yeah, join our
Fucking
clan.
join our clan.
But the benefits that you get from it are just going to... The longer you're in a clan, they're going to help you. It might not be noticeable in a week span of time, but over the course of many hours of gameplay, the extra glimmer you're going to get, the extra prizes that are going to drop from public events, the rewards are just going to add up over time, that it's really going to help out your character in the long run.
Absolutely.
So try to not avoid getting into that. I think we all got into the clan immediately when it was available.
Well, the clan carried over from Destiny 1. So it was just there. Like as soon as I connected to the game, the clan was there, because I'm like the clan founder or whatever. And as soon as I made the transition, it was in Destiny 2.
Got it. I think that's all I really.
Yeah. Do we want to announce kind of what we're doing here with the podcast?
Sure, we can do that.
Okay. So next week is going to be a Mubbers that's just going to feature Ralph and Steve. Following that, Steve and Ralph will be reviewing the Wolfenstein. I think it's New Blood. It's the one for current gen.
Okay.
And then after that, we are going to do a drunk episode that is the 4 of us playing drinking games, and honestly, we want crowd interaction. So by all means, get on our Facebook. You'll start seeing posts. You'll start seeing posts by the time this is out for it, to just start collecting questions, anything. We're going to kind of do a year-end wrap-up, or season 1 wrap-up.
Yes.
And then, during that time, when we get to that podcast, we'll kind of, we're going to think about tweaking some things, maybe possibly changing some things, and, we'll inform you all at that time what we're going to be tweaking and changing and stuff. And then it'll be... Looking forward to season 2.
Yeah, you believe it?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Year?
We're coming up on a year of
That's
podcasting.
Insane.
It's awesome.
Insane.
We owe it all to you guys too, because if
Absolutely.
we didn't have your guys' support, like, we would not be continuing to do this.
Cool, awesome. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for our Destiny 2 episode.
Yep.
So stay tuned for the 2 lesser members of our podcast to perform their special little episode. But cool. Well, thank you again.
Love you.
Yeah. Guardian out.
Guardian out. Guardian down.
Yeah.
Game over. Game over. Game over. Game over. Game over.
Thanks for listening to Super Fun Game Review Podcast Go. Stay up to date on our Facebook at facebook.com/superfunpodcast.